Let's jump to this next story from SCNR. We have this ActBlue changes donation procedures after Texas AG investigation. Following money laundering allegations, Democratic fundraising platform now requires credit card CVV codes. Will that put an end to the weird instances where little old ladies were donating 57 times per day? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But certainly something was going on. Now, I bring this one up because we talked about the paper ballot only scenario with the executive order in Virginia. The question is enough being done with these moves, or is it too little too late? I mean, we're what, 3 months out from the election?
This is how I look at it. If anyone out there believes that election interference or the manipulation by the left or any of this election interference is insurmountable, that's just not true. And again, what wins elections is involving your community, registering a friend, registering a family member, chasing those ballots, making sure that ballots actually make it to the ballot boxes. So I think a lot of this worry is also just a distraction and noise. I'm not sure how much we should be focusing on that.
I also think ActBlue is evil. I just like to say that during lockdowns and the riots, ActBlue was managed by Susan Rosenberg and 1,000 Currents. Susan Rosenberg is a domestic Marxist terrorist, part of the Weather Underground, who became a professor when she was pardoned on Bill Clinton's last day in office. And
crazy how that happens to the Weather Underground.
She helped, because ActBlue was able to use 1,000 Currents, like non-tax exempt status, to get these funds. So it's a very strange relationship they had, and she's an evil person that was funding BLM, which was a lot like the Weather Underground, in my opinion. So I don't like.
I love the whisper.
but that aside.
That aside.
Is enough being done to circumvent any kind of shadow campaign, or are Republicans going to step in it again this time?
They could very well step in it again. I keep thinking about the Time magazine.
I don't think enough's been done in general, but is it too late? I
think it's not. Look at what Glenn Youngkin's doing, right?
Right.
That is great.
That matters now. Are we going to see all the red states do this? They should. Swing states that have red legislatures should be passing this right now.
That's the thing that's tough with the left, is that they are just a monolith. For the most part, they have their issues. Obviously, BLM has problems with Kamala being installed the way she was. But for the most part, they're a monolith, and the right is not. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be tough to beat something like that.
Hence the don't make enemies of moderates.
Right.
Democrats are marching in lockstep. Registered Democrats outnumber Republicans as of 2022 by about 12 million registered voters. The Republican Party is a lot smaller. That's why when you look at the polling, you see that independents side with Republicans 2-1 on most issues. Republicans rely on independents to defeat the Democratic cult.
So when you're alienating those independents, what are we asking for here? And I think I was reminding people of all this. I'm sure a lot of us were, when Biden was collapsing. After that debate, everyone was so excited. The conservatives were on fire, right? But when you were sitting back to analyze things, you knew Democrats are way too heavily calculated. There's no way they don't have a plan here. I was reminding people of the stats, and now look, this was all heavily calculated. They had a plan all along.
Oh yeah, I think they trotted him out there knowing that he would fail.
No, I think there's infighting. I think that there are a lot of people who wanted him to step away a long time ago.
Right.
Said he promised to be a one-term president, and then he was like, just kidding, I'm running again. Yeah. And so they couldn't get him out. I think when he failed on the debate stage, they were like, now is our chance, pressure campaign. You'll see Nancy Pelosi deny this, right? I didn't make any calls. I didn't talk to anybody, not even Chuck Schumer. But then suddenly Joe Biden has left the election kind of at the most perfect time when they need him to most, when Trump has all of this positive press post-RNC and post-assassination attempt.
What if the October surprise was Kamala Harris announcing that for the past 18 months she had been involved in an investigation over the criminal actions of Joe Biden, and that she was unable to speak publicly about his mental state because of the investigation and the risk of compromising it, but you can now say that he is a criminal and he will be criminally charged, and she is stepping in as president, and then she comes out with all these documents proving crimes? Like, what if that was the October surprise?
I would say kudos, but still sound like a prosecutor.
No, I wouldn't, because she was aware the whole time and she allowed him to be president. She didn't step up.
This is not enough. Well, that's why she says because of the investigation.
No, that's not enough, man.
Vivek mentioned that calling her a prosecutor makes her sound good on crime. So when people say that she was a prosecutor who kept people in jail, all you're saying is she's tough on crime.
It's funny because I'm thinking about it the way I used to think about it when I considered myself liberal in terms of prison reform, and the way she was throwing all these people in jail using the prison the crime bill that Biden helped write in the 90s. You know.
Do you think most people are?
No, because I'm a nerd watching the same video from 1993 on YouTube when Biden's talking about these people and she's calling them super predators.
Clip of Tulsi. Taking her to task for this in 2020 over and over and over
on the debate
again.
stage.
Yeah, because I also think progressives have a long memory and they're not going to forget some of that.
But that's primary stuff.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
That destroyed her in the primary. If you go on stage and say she was locking up criminals beyond their time or whatever, they're going to be like, wow, she's a tough on crime candidate.
No, I think the weird thing about Kamala's campaign right now is that she didn't primary. So she does have all the support. Like, she doesn't need to primary and get votes. On the other hand, it does not actually mean she has complete support from the grassroots Democrats, right? She has institutional support. The media is behind her. Every congressional Democrat, every governor was like, yep, you're the gal. But the voters are not as sold on her as they would like them to be. There's enough room for disagreement within their party, especially like I mentioned Palestine with some prosecution stuff, that I think you could honestly say if you kept talking about this, you might help independents, but also some progressives might say, oh yeah, we didn't like her the first time around.
You have to remind some of these people, right? Like they forgot. But I think any voters that are convinced right now are simply just convinced because they don't like Donald Trump. How could they possibly be convinced on any of her policies when you go to her website right now and there's zero vision, zero agenda, and zero policies for how she's going to help this country?
You know what I really want to see? Just at the DNC, Kamala loses, and then it's Hillary Clinton.
How do you think?
What's Hillary Clinton's walkout song?
Does she do better? Do you think people
Hillary?
want her for the left? Nah. I think they're done with her.
Yeah, I think she would do miserably among the younger generation too.
Yeah.
So, really consider how...
Well, she can't do TikTok dancing.
It's been 8 years, man. I mean, we're talking about, it's been a long time. Someone who was in their early 20s, 22-year-old voter at the time of Hillary Clinton's now approaching 30 and entering their 30s, and they have family now. Their life has changed a lot from early 20s to their 30s.
So true.
Hillary Clinton's just not it. But the reason why I say that is, for one, it'd be funny.
It would be.
But also, if they do swap out Kamala, she's off the ballot in so many states that I don't think they can win.
Yeah.
Like, Trump just wins by default, basically.
They won't let that happen.
Right. So it's going to be Kamala, it's going to be Walz, and then we're all going to go, bleh. And they're going to offer up no campaign policies.
They don't have to.
They're going to do everything they can to make sure that Trump is fighting in the mud with them instead of targeting on the issues. And we talked about this with the midterms in 2018 and 2022. The kitchen table issues matter the most. But if people just want negative partisanship, then you got to win a culture war. So good luck convincing people that the other side is just wrong or evil or whatever, instead of talking about the price of food.
Yeah, I think they should start telling conservatives, anyone who ends up on CNN or does any kind of mainstream thing, should push home the point that Kamala Harris does not respect you enough to give you a platform. She does not care about you, and that's crazy.
The crazier part to me is look at Donald Trump going on all of these networks, going against the media, holding press conferences, inviting the mainstream media to come. The same media that is propping Kamala up is the one that she's running away from. I mean, that should scare every American.
When she did that, she gave this comment to reporters, like, when are we going to get an interview? And she was like, oh yeah, we're going to set up one by the end of August. Ma'am,
circle back.
Any reporter would come from the ends of the earth to interview and have an exclusive sit down with you. You could have one tomorrow, but you don't respect your voters enough to give them one, or your team knows that you can't handle it.
Do you think she's training for the interview?
Hasn't she been a public figure for long enough? If she can't handle it now, why is she running for president?
Well, apparently Americans also forgot that with the whole, on day one of my administration, sweetheart, you've been part of this White House.
Well, the oppressive white man is holding her back, as you know.
Can you guys, I mean...
That's the comment that she's making there.
Yeah.
Right. She is saying, oh, I'm not allowed to do stuff because Joe Biden's in my way, as all, patriarchal oppressors are apt to do. It's crazy.
This is also the party that complains about how much they hate old white milquetoast men. Mm-hmm. And so let's see. Now she just picked a left communist old white milquetoast man as her. I mean, make it make sense.
That stuff supersedes the skin color.
Have you seen the leftist? I shouldn't say the liberal meme tweets about Walz? Heavens help us. I don't even want to repeat some of them.
Oh, let's hear them.
No, I
You have to reference something.
Because one was like, basically a woman was explaining what it would be like to be in bed with J.D. Vance or Tim Walz.
Oh, I saw that.
Clint, Russell
I'm not
posted
gonna-
this,
Yeah, I
and
don't
I'm
wanna
upset
know.
with
I
you,
don't wanna
Clint,
know.
for making me read that.
Then there was one where it's like, he's the dad you lost to Fox News, come back or whatever, or something like this. Like, this is what your father would have been if not for Fox News. There's one where
so many daddy issues.
there's one where
So
it's a
weird.
bunch of women and girls are hugging him and he's smiling and it's like he could save us or something. It's just like the weirdest stuff, man.
Social media is
but
wild.
it's daddy issues.
daddy issues.
Wow.
Like, isn't that weird? This is the thing that I don't get. Why they have to make it so it's like Kamala is mom. I mean, I know her stepkids call her Mamala, but like Kamala is our mom.
Mamala.
And Walz is our dad or our uncle, and we're desperate for family and connection. And even though they'll never know who we are, we're going to somehow put them on this weird pedestal.
These are
knowing
the
nothing
same
about them.
voters that we were talking about that have no plans to start their own family.
Well, and also on top of that, the government, that side wants the government to be your parent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's they're the surrogates.
right.
What is the Kamala thing?
What?
I thought that was just
Oh,
like
it's
a
like-
misspelling.
I think that's just troll. No,
But then
no, it's turned into a whole thing. The campaign, Stephen Chong, our friend, is like just going with it. I think it's just funny.
I think it was a mistype, but I saw this one meme with like Barron behind him was like, "Yes, father, exactly like that," and Trump was like, "Yes, well done, Barron." Like they're like messing with Kamala in a way
Is
that's
the
going to
is
get
the
under her
goal
skin.
to just be like, you've never heard of this band I like? We're too cool. Like, I listen to Space Avenger 53. You've never heard of them? They're an indie band. Is that the strategy against Kamala?
No, I think the Kamala strategy is
I think it's more like Kofefi.
it's annoying people for some reason. Like if you look at Stephen Chung's Twitter, these people are getting so annoyed for some reason. Like, what does this mean? Why are you calling her that?
Does it get
So he-
votes?
Of course not. But most of these strategies right now, most of these hashtags are not getting votes.
And if some of it is just to start turning the narrative, right? Like if you have something that's getting under their skin,
Right.
rather than
Like-
being
like
no,
the-
you're
the
weird,
weird
or
thing.
whatever
Right,
it was.
right.
Like it is kind of funny to
Drew
see.
Barrymore said it on her show. Is that what it is? Oh, they're repeating something that she had said. Kamala.
But doesn't she have a lisp? Are we not supposed to make fun of her?
I don't know. I'm just like.
Nothing's off the table, Hannah.
The hack watches Drew Barrymore.
I am not interested in having a meme flame war on X for the election.
We can have the meme war after November 5th. Like, we can do that.
If Republicans and Democrats want to engage in a he's weird, no, you're weird, no, you drink horse, and I'm just going to be like, yeah, I'll be over there, and I'm not going to be involved in that.
They're trying to recapture the meme war of 2015
Yeah.
and what that did, but it's not there right now. They're not hitting that same wave that they were hitting in 2015, 2016.
That's true, yeah.
Because it was amazing then. It was hilarious. But
Meme
everyone
magic.
now, it was meme magic.
Have you ever seen the Meme Magic documentary?
No.
Talking about how weird 2016 was, like Keck.
Right.
You know about the Keck,
Yeah.
the god. And so for those that don't know, Keck is a god, a frog god. And then in World of Warcraft, when you have two factions, the Alliance and the Horde, and you're not supposed to be able to communicate with each other because it's a PvP server. And so if you on one side, I think the Horde is approaching you and they speak Orcish or whatever, if you type LOL, the Alliance player sees Kek, K-E-K. So a lot of young people then online started saying Kek instead of LOL. And then people started to, like, eventually someone found out Kek was an Egyptian god, it was a frog. Then there was the Pepe frog. Then there was that song Chatelet where the record has a green frog on it and it's like frog magic or something. There's a documentary talking about it, all these weird memes that happened. One was like, Trump is going to win, and it was like 10 number 7s in the identifier on 4chan. Just something like that. It was like just weird stuff, like something, the Large Hadron Collider, who knows?
Now I'm sold. But
I was gonna say, do you know about this stuff?
well, that went off in 2008.
You got to this is 2016.
I know. I'm saying the Large Hadron Collider went
They
off.
fired up in 2016. Right
Oh yeah,
before
yeah. 2012, I think 2016.
You got to watch that
Just recently.
documentary.
I will.
Because it's like it actually will trip you out.
But what's happening now is them trying to do it all again, and it's not working.
It's forced memes.
The right and the left are trying to do it, and it's not interesting, honestly.
Yeah.
Like it used to be. It used to be.
Do you think
hilarious.
it's not interesting because of the issues at hand right now?
No, because it's always the end of the world. Every election's the end of the world. It's just that they're not funny. A lot of them are not funny,
Yeah.
and they're not sticking, and they're not rooted in any real truth, like the couch stuff,
Yeah.
the horse stuff. You know,
forced.
humor is really
There's
good.
no idea being conveyed. Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.